I turned 12 years old that I met him. And I'd met him before at a couple of parties with some guy named John Phillips, who was also on this list further down. In fact, on the next page, in fact. I was with him 2 times, but I think it was with him anyway. But anyway, this guy took me to a couple of parties and stuff where he introduced me to this guy, but at the time he never had anything to do with me until I was down the run with my friend Mike and met him that way. Next column is from town. I got that his address is 6724 Davenport. He had several phone numbers I remember. It was like 341-4777 and 5. I can't read it on here. 556-7898. I think that's his home number that I remember calling several times. And that is 596. I can't read it. I don't think it's 596. I don't think that's the Omaha number. 556 is it. And next guy is Robert Andreessen. The only reason I don't have numbers next to Robert Andreessen is because it happened 3 times. I don't have numbers by it, but it only happened 3 times with him. He was from Main Street in Ralston. That's where he lived at. And that went on a couple of times from about 77 to, well, what was it, 77 up till 83 or 84, I'm not sure. I got away from Carlson's group. The next guy I got on here, his name is Sean or John Dell. It's actually Barksdale was his name. He did something out of Boys Town. Met him in about 80, and he was involved with Alan Bear and Larry King and that whole group.
Alan Bear is the heir to the Brandeis fortune.
Yeah, Brandeis.
Yeah, we've already explained that. How many times on him?
The first call? About 10 to 20 times.
Okay.
He was also the one that took me to parties and stuff. He was a black guy. Hanging around with Larry King a lot. Next guy is a guy named Dwayne or Dave, and I was with him about 5 to 10 times. In about the same period, 80 to 85. I'm not sure about his name at all, but I know he operated a pool out at Boys Town. He was one of the pool operators. He cleaned it.
Oh, cleaned it, okay.
And was involved with the parties with Alan Bear and stuff. The next guy, 5 to 10 times, which actually should be updated to 50 to 100 times, although he won't ever admit it, but I met this guy in prison even, seen him in there.
Oh, was he in prison just last...
Yeah.
Really?
He was coming up stuff, and he recognized me, and the funny thing was, I always thought, well, how did he recognize me and know all about me and stuff, and come up and start talking about the Franklin case stuff. You know, if all of a sudden I didn't have nothing to do with him, and he wouldn't admit, well, I don't remember you, as he kept saying, but it was Chuck Miller, and I knew him from about 81 till 83, and then I got away from him. And
is that the guy in prison?
Yeah, he lived on 30th in California in Omaha. And he was kind of involved by himself. He was kind of in a group all by himself. He didn't have a big group. I met him down on downtown area and stuff, and some of his other kids that he was messing around with.
Did these guys pay you to do this?
Bear did, and the people at his parties usually paid, like Barksdale and Dave and stuff usually paid me, and Chuck Miller, he took me places. He used to take a lot of trips, and that's easy to check on. He used to take a lot of kids out of the country and down to several different places that he took us to.
Okay. Keep going. What did they pay you?
Huh?
What did they pay you?
It depended. Alan Bear, sometimes I'd get drugs, sometimes I'd get money. I'd get anywhere from $20 to several $1,000s for depending on what I had to do and how long I had to be there or whatever. It's like I went to some parties, some got paid $5,000 just for going to it. Letting people do whatever they wanted to.
Where would that be?
Well, when we took trips to California or took trips out of state, even some trips that we took to other towns like Des Moines and stuff, we'd get $1,000 or something. It was nothing.
5,000 on some occasions?
Yeah, 5,000 on some occasions. Like out in California, we went out there. We had to go on to Sunset Boulevard, which is near Beverly Hills. Which you got Beverly Hills is where the ladies hang out on. Beverly Hills Boulevard, and then you got Sunset. What is it? Sunset Strip, or is it what was the name of that street?
Santa Monica.
Yeah, Santa Monica Boulevard. Why was I thinking Sunset Strip? Santa
Well,
Monica Boulevard.
you got Sunset Boulevard and then Santa Monica Boulevard.
Santa Monica Boulevard is where the teenage male prostitutes hang out at.
Right.
And that's where they used to send us, and we'd get kids for parties and stuff there. And we'd take them back to the Beverly Hills Wilshire Hotel, or to the other one that's right there too, that they have another hotel that sells.
Bel Air?
Yeah.
Bel Air Country Club. Bel Air Hotel, Beverly Hills.
And then I remember one because when you walk in the door, there's like it's like you look through it on one side and you got something on the other side. It's like a big glass thing that's right on the thing, and you look through it and it kind of makes everybody else distort on the other side.
Yeah.
We used to have fun with that one, and when we go in there and stuff, sometimes the hotel manager of some of the restaurants, or not restaurants, but the hotels would make you kind of, when we went in there and stuff, they made sure that we were dressed up nice.
Yeah.
And we were always there with our uncle or with our parents on vacation. We were, especially at the Beverly Wilshire, the Regency.
Yeah.
You had to make sure that you were there on, because it's like they were high class. They had a restaurant there, but it was a high class hotel, and they made sure that most of them were like that. They made sure that you were, and they knew what was going on.
Sure they did.
When you're there with Larry King, and he has a 2-floor plaza, and he's got 90 kids going into his parties and stuff, and 20 adults, and
Would there be that many? 90 kids and 20 adults?
Probably about 20 kids and 10 adults, or sometimes it'd be 30 or 40 adults and 40 or 50 kids. And some of the places we went, they did that.
They male and female kids, or?
They had males and females, yeah. Some black, some white. They sent me out on the Santa Monica Boulevard a lot of times, to tell people, there's a party there and stuff, and you show up, you'll get, $500 just for showing up, which is more than they make out there on the streets anyway.
Yeah.
Usually they make 10, 15, 20 bucks, 50 bucks.
Did anybody worry about AIDS?
At that time, no. That was in the early 80s when that first started, because before AIDS came out. But, it's like they'd make $500, and then that was a lot of money for that kind of business. But
keep going down the list.
The next one is Rusty Nelson. He was a photographer. There's actually 2 Rusty Nelsons. I got another Nelson down here below. But
how many times for Rusty? First call?
5 to 10 times. I was from 81 to 86. He was a photographer. His address is 5035 Bedford Ave. Phone number is 556-6239. And he was from Bear King. And his wife is named Rusty and Dolores. Starts with a D. They used to be foster parents, which kind of fits right in with everything that they were doing. And he did photography for Larry King. He stayed there for a while and stuff. And when they were foster parents, the ironic thing was they weren't even married yet. They got married after they had the foster kids and everything. And yet they were still allowed to be foster parents. And okay, so the next person is William Thiessen, and it is the guy who owned the pizza place, and I had debate in my own head and stuff, and I wasn't 1,000% sure if it was or not, but now I am.
How many times?
10 to 20.
In Omaha?
From 79 to 85, yeah.
In Omaha?
In Omaha. And he was involved with Citron and Anderson and that group with Bear and stuff. Next guy I got on here should be actually 200 to 300 times that I've been with him, but I put on here and stuff 20 to 30, but that was how many trips I took out to New York and Boston, which was where he's from, was David Thorstad. And you're here from 78 to 86, and that was New York and Boston. I was involved with NAMBLA.
He was in NAMBLA?
Yeah, he was the founder of NAMBLA.
Oh yeah, David Thorstad?
Yeah. David, David, I know his middle name, but hold on. That's on right now. I don't remember it.
How did Thorstad tie into these other people?
He got tied in with Carlson because he was associated with some people that Carlson knew and stuff. Some of Carlson's group was getting involved with NAMBLA because of what they did and what Carlson and them were doing. They agreed with this, so they had contacts with them and stuff. And David Thorstad came in and talked to him and stuff. And Took
You
a
came
liking.
in Omaha and talked to them on a lecture, or just talked to them?
We talked to them socially.
Uh-huh.
No, a lecture. We talked to them socially and stuff. And he came in and stuff, and I was at the party that he was at and stuff, and a couple other. He had some kid that he brought with him, and he took a liking to me and this other kid that was there at the parties and stuff that Carlson had and stuff, and he told him that, you know, he talked to us and stuff, and he decided that he wanted us to come out to his place and stuff once in a while.
Where did he live?
Out in New York or Boston. I'm not sure if he lived in New York or Boston. I know every time I went there, we went to either place. He had two places that he stayed at.
What does he do for a living?
He was a freelance photographer or journalist or something like that. I know he took a lot of pictures. And I met him before NAMBLA ever formed. He was part of the Boise Committee, which was the Boston Boise Committee. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It was before, it was the group that NAMBLA came out of. I mean, I was involved with that before that and stuff. They got me in touch with a bunch of people all over the country. I mean, that's how I got involved with all these different guys. They provide the names to the kids. They would never provide kids' names to the adults until they got really into it so much, in fact, that, you know, it's like David Thurston and stuff. They weren't dummies. I mean, it's like the only way they'd start providing names of kids to other men and stuff is if they knew that this guy was having sexual relations with children and stuff on a regular basis and was very active in it. Otherwise, they wouldn't, because they were afraid that it might be an undercover thing. They don't want anybody to know that they actually do that kind of service for people.
Do you want to explain what NAMBLA is?
North American Man-Boy Love Association.
And you know anything about the organization?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
The organization is, they try and make look like they're doing things for kids' rights and stuff, children's rights and stuff, to make it. But what they're actually trying to do is destroy laws that prohibit men and children from having sexual relations with each other. That's their main and only purpose, really. They try and say, well, they're against all these things, and they got these things that state all their cause and stuff. They have a magazine out that's called The Bulletin. They send it out every month, I guess. I don't receive it, so I think it's still being put out by them. And they kind of promote things that try and make it easier, or not easier, but try and pervert the rest of the world by saying, well, there's nothing wrong with sex between men and boys, or men and children, or women and children and stuff. And it's just
Women in there too?
Yeah, they got some women involved with it.
Yeah. Were you a member or anything?
I was, I don't know if you could call me a member. I was a kid when I was growing up through it, but I was involved with them to the point where I'd rally, I'd march with them and stuff like that when I was like 13, 14 years old, not realizing myself what this was actually doing.
Where did you march with them?
We went to, it was an anti-nuclear demonstration in Washington, D.C.
Who's paying your expenses?
I don't know.
Would they just hand you a ticket and say, here it is? Or?
Well, no, they wouldn't hand me a ticket. They'd come and they'd pick me up. They'd have somebody pick me up every time. They wouldn't never send me alone. No, they didn't do it alone. I mean, I had to have somebody with me when I...
Because you were a young boy, huh?
Well, not because I was young. I mean, yeah, that's the thing about it. I had to have somebody with me, and yet I should have all rights to do whatever I want anytime I want to, but they just wanted me for the sex. They didn't want to let me run around on my own. I had to be protected still.
Yeah.
But they didn't realize it protected from them. You know, I had a whole list of everything I did with them. In fact, I had one marked NAMBLA.
We can cover that later. I'll make a note.
But yeah, an anti-nuclear demonstration I was at, they started in December of 1978. That's where they had their meeting at.
We had to, that was the conclusion of take one. We're on take two, beginning of take two. We had to change locations because of conflict of schedule and other meetings that were scheduled at the other location. Anyway, Paul, come on back over here. Let's continue with your list here, Paul.
Okay. I was at David Thurston. I was talking about some of the dates that